Hey everyone, and welcome to another Let's Max Warframe, where today we're continuing our ramble through our favourite Salt Trader's weapon inventory, taking a look at some updating builds for those weapons he brings us occasionally on a Friday. Today's offering is going to be one that I've always liked quite a bit, and that is the Grineer heavy machine gun, the Prisma Gorgon. You can pick this up either from Baro for 600 ducats and 50,000 credits, or by delving into the deep dark depths of trade chat and parting with some hard-earned platinum. Boasting a pretty reasonable 23.1 damage a shot, most of that comes as impact, and then a small amount of both slash and puncture. For a crit weapon, that's actually fairly high base damage, and that combines well with some of its other stats to make it a pretty hard-hitting weapon. For example, its fantastic 30% critical chance and 230% critical damage multiplier means that not only will a crit build work well, but also it's going to hit extremely hard when it does crit. The status chance of just 15% isn't really that high though, but stick a couple of dual stats on there and rely on the fire rate of a shade over 14 rounds a second, and then the sheer volume of fire means that status actually works out a lot better than it would first appear. Not only that, but honestly it's pretty accurate, which allows you to apply your damage even over a fairly decent range. The magazine size of 120 rounds also means you aren't going to be reloading that often either. But the thing is, that actually sort of leads on to one of the few negatives that the Prisma Gorgon does have. The 120 round magazine is a bit of a godsend because of the 3-second reload that the Prisma Gorgon has, which honestly either needs modding for or just needs playing around, which honestly it can be pretty painful if you're a habitual reloader like I am. I tend to make sure I'm ready for larger engagements by reloading often, and at 3 seconds a time can get pretty painful quickly. It also takes 12 rounds to be able to get up to that maximum fire rate, so you shouldn't expect your maximum damage output available at all times, only when you can build it up, so that can affect your ability to put out damage. Also, because of the lower damage and the high fire rate, and the spool up means it can be more effective to switch targets while still firing, the Prisma Gorgon is pretty ammo hungry, and that needs some consideration again either in modding or in Sentinel choice, where an ammo case carrier can help it go, keep it going a lot easier. Talking about the modding, how did I go about modding the thing? Well, it comes with no polarities whatsoever, so I've added 6 in here, although you could get away with less depending on how you want to modify your build. 6 Vs on here to allow for some modification and some personal preference to my own build. Build I went with is Serration Split Chamber. I've got Prime Shred on there for fire rate and punch through, Point Strike, Vital Sense for crit chance and crit damage, 2 dual stat elemental mods, in this case Malignant Force and High Voltage for corrosive, and then the final mod is completely up to you. I've sort of mixed things up here quite a bit between primed ammo mutation, primed fast hands, but the reason I formed it this way is so if I can use primed cryo rounds if I want to switch things up for viral damage. Faction specific mods also work really well in here, such as a primed Bane of Grineer. Hunter munitions also works pretty well too. Bladed rounds or Argon Scope are also pretty decent options. There is a whole bunch of things here you could do for personal preference, so mix things up and try out and see what actually you prefer. So do I think that the Prisma Gorgon is better now? Would I recommend investing the former into it? It's worth the ducats? And the answer is, honestly, hell yes, I do. I was super surprised by this, and it was actually one of the first weapons I tested when the balance changes came out, because I have a nice ribbon for it and I wanted to see what it can do. And honestly, it is a beast. None of the footage includes that ribbon, since your chances of getting the same one as mine is almost none. So all my videos include no ribbons in the footage. But look at it chew through those heavy gunners with ease now, and because it's got punch through, it can mow down groups of enemies with ease too. Not only that, the noise it makes, that constant barrage of fire, it's got a certain theatre to it too. The best thing is though that it has a 4 out of 5 ribbon disposition too, which means you can get some pretty good numbers. Naturally, you're going to be looking for damage, multi-shot, crit chance, crit damage. They're the ones that you're going to really want on here. My negative is actually minus fire rate, which sounds awful. It does hurt the damage output a little bit, but it helps my ammo conservation and actually makes it feel like a proper heavy machine gun. And that is part of the reason I love it so much. But to be honest, it's going to deal with anything you will put it against in the game just fine. From your normal star chart all the way up to sorties, it's going to deal with them well. It's well worth buying from Baro, and it's worth whacking all those former onto it to fit whichever build you'd like. I am a big fan of the Prisma Gorgon, and I hope you have as much fun with it as I do. More Baro videos coming tomorrow, but for now, many thanks for watching, and I shall see you in that next one.